All right, friends. Happy day, happy yoga time. Thank you for being here. Thank you for making time to practice a little bit of self-care. Awesomeness. All right. As we get started today, I wanted to just take a moment to say what we are going to focus on. And today, our class time together will focus on balance, and not just balance as in standing on one leg sort of balance. We will incorporate a little balance later on in our practice, but balance meaning, kind of making space for all the things. So maybe we're thinking about how we may make space for both rest and activity, and that those things, in balance, help us to be healthy. If you have too much, staying active, moving, yada, 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 like that could be kind of exhausting. But the same thing on the other side, like too much rest can kind of throw us off balance as well. Maybe if we're thinking of the balance of like hot and cold, night and day. So just kind of thinking about the balancing of things. So as we're in our practice today, you might think of, it doesn't necessarily need to be opposite things, but as we're in balance, you might be thinking of how when we press downwards, that actually supports us as we lengthen. So as you like kind of push towards the ground, you can feel the crown raising towards the sky. So that's the type of thing we'll be reflecting on in today's class. So as we are kind of thinking about those two, maybe even thinking, well, it's a little yin and yangish, but thinking about those as we practice breathing, let's practice a balanced breath, meaning our inhales and exhales, they're just kind of in a natural, oval sort of shape, our inhales and exhales. So diaphragmatic breathing is one great way to do this, is to bring the full inhale into your belly and then the exhales. Sometimes when we're practicing this, we do extended exhale, but for today's practice, we're gonna balance the two, balancing our inhales and exhales. So as you settle in and get ready for this first breathing practice, take a full inhale, expanding your belly. And an equally full exhale. Again, inhale, expanding slowly and fully. And letting it all out in an exhale. Another inhale, filling up, expanding. Exhale, fully releasing. Now allow your breath to fall into its natural rhythm. Effortlessly inhaling and exhaling. Maybe just noticing your breath. As we are getting started today, kind of just inviting in that concept of being balanced. So if in your own personal practice, if you practice a certain way, maybe kind of inviting in a little bit of different. So if you tend to stretch to your limits, maybe inviting in, a little bit less. Or the opposite. Maybe if you normally are very reserved, maybe you expand a little bit. So that's today's practice. We'll start in seated mountain. So in seated mountain, we're pressing into the ground as we're lifting up. So kind of those two simultaneous yet opposing sensations. On your next inhale, bring your shoulders up, exhale them back and down. Bring your hands out with palms facing forward. Now we are mountains that are both grounded to the earth and reaching to the sky. On your next inhale, reach your arms all the way up. And exhale, release down. Do that 2 more times. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, release down. Last one. Inhale, reach. Exhale, release. When you've reached the bottom, give a good shake. Shake out whatever you've got. Shake off any tension, any kind of little worries, judgment, all the stuff. And then the next time you reach upwards, start to stretch your way to the ceiling. So that could be a 1 arm at a time, both arms together. Noticing how you're feeling in your shoulders, your side body, your whole upper body. And on your next exhale, twist to one side. Your front hand can rest on your shins or on your opposite knee. Your back arm is providing support behind you. If you're in the chair, it could be resting on the back of the chair or on the seat. If you're on the mat, maybe it's out a little bit like a kickstand, making little adjustments. On your next exhale, look over your back shoulder. Inhale over your front shoulder. Exhale back. Inhale, come all the way back up, and again, stretch a few times here. Breathing while you're stretching, and then take a twist to the other side. So same thing, you're kind of setting up and making little adjustments focused on the center of your body. So it's as if you're wringing out a washcloth there at the center. On your next exhale, look over your back shoulder. Inhale your chin over your front shoulder. Exhale it back. Inhale, bring your arms back up. Maybe incorporate a little bit of a back bend. And then opposite direction. Exhale to fold forward. Whether you're on the mat or in the chair, you decide what's the forward fold you need today. And again, if you always practice a certain way, maybe you explore it a little bit different. Maybe if you normally kind of sway a little bit, maybe you try stillness or vice versa. You could try walking your hands out if that's not typical, just exploring different ways to practice your forward fold. On your next inhale, come up a little bit. We're going to exhale to a diagonal fold. So on the mat, reaching out over one side. From the chair, you can place both hands to the outside of one leg, and then you decide. You decide if your forward fold is further up, further down, anywhere in between. While you're here, noticing any sensations you're experiencing anywhere. On your next inhale, come up a little bit. If you're on the mat, switch the lock on your legs. And then exhale, diagonal fold to the other side. Mat or chair. Pause here for a couple breaths. On your next inhale, make your way up, all the way up. Connect your hands together. Exhale, bring them to heart center. Pause here, take a moment of reflection. Take a moment as you contemplate balance. Is there an area of your life that you'd like to bring more balance? Maybe it's a work-life balance. Maybe it's a compassion for others versus compassion for self kind of balance. Any kind of thing that comes up for you. Notice that, invite it in, and then we'll revisit that later. All right, friends, press your hands together And noticing any activation of your muscles. And then interlace your fingers, extend your hands out in front of you. Maybe we need to stretch hands. You get some tired typing fingers or wrists. Or maybe you want to bring your hands up in stillness or movement. Lots of options. When you're ready, release. Circle through your shoulders. Circle the other way. Maybe some unique kind of one at a time circles. And then settle in. On your next inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bring your chin down to your sternum. Pause here, take a couple breaths. I'm gonna move through all the different directions for our neck stretches. On your next inhale, look all the way up. So again, we're balancing the forward and the back. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, take it to one side. Maybe this is your stretch. Maybe you like to practice by placing your hand on your temple. You can experiment with a little bit of tapping or reaching to stretch. Choose your own adventure. And then release back to center, take it to the other side, same Z's. Maybe you're just resting your hands, maybe your hand rests on your temple, maybe you stretch or tap. When you're ready, incorporating some movement, whether it's that slow back and forth semicircle, or gentle, looking up and down. If you try it on one side, bring balance by trying it on the other. And then back to center. We're gonna inhale, bring both hands all the way up. Exhale, take it over to one side. So options to keep your hands together, hold on to your upper wrist, or bring your hand down for support. Later, when we practice both sun salutations and moon salutations, this is warming us up for a little bit of the side bending we'll do later. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, take it to the other side. Same thing, bringing some balance. You could hold your wrist, bring your hand down. Any adjustments? Take a couple breaths. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, hands back to heart. Again, thinking about that balance as we move forward. All right, moving on to our legs. If they're crossed, you can extend them out. Get some movement, whether that's bouncy or a little side to side, a little windshield wiper action. And then choose one side to focus on. Start to point and flex through that side. Same Z's from the chair. Circle one way. Circle the other way. Option for a couple leg lifts if you want to wake up these muscles. And then some rocking. So your version of rocking could be the chill rocking, just kind of resting your hands on one side. You could hug your leg close rocking. Rock the baby, that's where we bring one leg across the body to rock. Choose whichever feels most supportive and balanced for your practice today. Bring in some full breaths, maybe some big sighs. And then when you're ready, release your knee to the side. So options here, you could rest your ankle on your other leg. You could bring your foot beside your leg, or if those are uncomfortable, you can always drop it down. Option to sit tall or lean forward. With any of those options, And actually, it's a little bit of both. Notice on your inhales, you can focus on lengthening, and on your exhales, sinking a little bit. And keeping those two, again, in balance. So your inhales and exhales are both complementing one another. They're not opposites, they are complements. That's a slight shift that we can apply to many areas of our lives where things maybe seem like they're opposing. They're not necessarily in opposition. They can just be complementing one another. Just like our inhales and exhales complement a breathing practice. On your next inhale, make your way up, release, and some movement, bouncing side to side, shifting to the other leg. So again, little point and flex. Circle one way, circle the other way. Couple of leg lifts if you choose. That's just to wake up the muscles. All right. And then from here, rocking, whether it's very chill, hold your leg close, rock the baby, any form. Taking a couple full breaths here. And then shifting, allow your knee to fall to the side. Option to rest your leg, your ankle on your other leg. Option to rest it beside, or if you're in the chair, you can also drop it down. Sit tall. And if you choose, you can also lean forward. Kind of decide where you want to be. And if you are practicing a forward fold, again, coming back to your breath. So on your inhales, focus on lengthening. And on your exhales, just a slight sinking. Doesn't have to be pulling yourself down. Doesn't have to be a big movement. More of like an allowing. Even if it's just allowing a millimeter. Noticing that very, very subtle movement. On your next inhale, make your way up, release, movement. And now we're going to shift into first some half sun salutations and then some moon salutations. So slight adjustment here as we move to either a standing or seated practice. Starting with mountain. So whether you're in the chair or standing, we'll focus on our feet, even shift weight side to side, front to back. Notice when your feet feel centered and then press downwards. And as we're pressing down, at the same time, we're lifting through our crowns. So lifting upwards while pressing downwards. Inhale, shoulders up. Exhale them back and down. Bring hands out with palms facing forward. We are strong mountains. From here, on your next inhale, bring your arms all the way up. Exhale to your version of a gentle back bend. Maybe it's just looking up, or maybe you're bending at your back. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, back bend. Inhale up. Exhale, hands to heart. Pause here. Take a couple breaths. Get ready for 2 more rounds of half sun salutations. On your next inhale, bring your arms all the way up. Exhale your gentle back bend. Inhale up. Exhale, fold all the way forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, back bend. Inhale up. Exhale, hands to heart. Pause, take a couple breaths. Maybe bring your breath into your belly for the last round. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, gentle back bend. Inhale up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, back bend. Inhale up. And exhale, hands to heart. All right, beautiful, my friends. We're going to shift into a moon salutation practice. So we don't practice this as often as we do sun salutations, but just like our sun salutations, we can practice either seated in a chair or standing, either way for your moon salutation practice. And I'll go through both ways. The first round, I'm going to move through very slowly, and then we'll move more fluidly with our breath for the next two rounds. So we're going to start moon salutation practice, kind of, similarly. We're pressing into the ground, starting in mountain or with a variation of mountain where you have your hands to your heart. All right, on your next inhale, bring your arms up and hands connect. Exhale over to one side. Inhale, back to center. Exhale over to the other side. Inhale, back to center. All right, exhale, we're going to do this kind of cactus arms. If you're standing, you can do a little bit of a squat. This is called goddess. And then inhale to star. So your arms are extended at shoulder height. Your legs are kind of getting ready to set up for a triangle posture. Okay, so that's where you are. And then we're gonna reach over to one side. So you're reaching over to the side. And then inhale to triangle. Exhale, hands down, and you're framing your foot here. So if you're in a chair, you don't have to go all the way down. Maybe you're resting your hands on your leg. If you're practicing this standing, you're in a lunge, bringing your hands down. And then inhale, bring your arms up. This is a crescent lunge. So either up or up and back, either way. Exhale, hands down, and you're coming to a forward fold. Inhale, you're kind of half lift in your forward fold. Exhale, down, you're setting up for your lunge on the other side. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, down. And we're setting up for a triangle. Inhale your arm up. Exhale it down. Inhale, setting up for your star. Exhale, goddess. Inhale, back to center. Your hands are together. Exhale over to one side. Inhale to center. Exhale to the other side. Inhale to center. Exhale, hands to heart. Pause here. Take a couple breaths. And we're going to move through two more rounds of these moon salutations. Again, you can practice in a chair or standing or any other variation. Also, if you find a posture in the moon salutation that your body is like, oh, let's spend some time here, feel free to just take your time in that posture. You don't have to move through the full sequence if that's not what your body is asking for today. All right, on your next inhale, bring your arms up. Exhale to one side. Inhale to center. Exhale, other side. Inhale, center. Exhale, cactus arms or goddess. Inhale to star. Exhale, we're reaching over. Inhale, triangle, whether you're seated or standing. Exhale, hands are setting up for a lunge. And then inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, hands down. We're setting up for a forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale down, setting up for lunge. Inhale, crescent. Exhale, down. And then we're gonna inhale, triangle, your arms reaching up. Exhale, down. Inhale, star. Exhale, goddess or cactus arms. Inhale to center. Exhale to one side. Inhale to center. Exhale to the other side. Inhale to center. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart center. Maybe place them on your heart and notice. Notice with these movements, what's happening to your heartbeat? Did anything change? Being the observer of that experience, coming back to your breath as we are getting ready to practice the last round of moon salutations, either seated or standing. On your next inhale, bring your arms up. Exhale to one side. Inhale, center. Exhale, other side. Inhale, center. Exhale, cactus arms or goddess. Inhale, star. Exhale, reaching over to the side. Inhale, triangle. Exhale, bring your hand down. You're setting up for your lunge, on your chair or on the mat. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, down, coming to your center forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, down, setting up for lunge on the other side. Inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale, hands down, getting ready for triangle. Inhale, triangle, reaching up. Exhale, down. Inhale, star. Exhale, goddess. Inhale, center. Exhale to one side. Inhale to center. Exhale to the other side. Inhale to center. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart. And breathe. And maybe even release. Maybe a little bit of twisting or any other movement that you need to just let some stuff go. All kinds of interesting stabilizer muscles and stretchy stuff going on. All right, we're going to shift into our balance practice because that was we were focusing on today is a little bit of balance. And this is one of our trickier balance postures. And I will demonstrate it both from a chair and from standing. So from a chair, you're going to take your hand and place it on your opposite leg. Same thing standing. So you're going to take your hand, one leg is rooted, the non-rooted leg. So maybe you're like bringing it up to your toes a little bit and placing your opposite hand there. So notice a little bit of twisting sensation here. So maybe this is it. This might be your posture for today. Or maybe you want to explore lifting this leg up. So option to keep your hand resting anywhere along your leg. Another option is to explore reaching for the outside edge of your foot. So these are options. So whether you're holding onto your foot or your leg, either way, you start to bring your other arm behind you. So in the chair or standing. And you can pick something to focus on either to your side body, or you can explore looking behind you. That is where I often get tripped up. Last option, if you choose to explore it, is the flexibility part of this. So maybe you see what happens if you extend your leg a little bit. They're all structured a little different. So engaging that part of the practice with curiosity, releasing any kind of judgment. So a lot going on in this balancing posture. So having fun with it. If you fall out of it, get back into it. Focusing on something that's not moving might help support the balance part of the practice in whatever form you've landed in. And whenever you're ready, release, let it go, shake it out. That's our tricky balance posture for today. And then we'll set up the same as the other side. I'm just gonna leave the chair in the middle. All right, so as we switch to the other side, starting the same. So now you're gonna switch your rooted standing leg and placing your opposite hand, your non-standing leg, non-rounded leg. Maybe you just start with bringing it up to your toes. And maybe this is your practice. So there's a nice twist here. Maybe that's the sensation you want to focus on, is the twisting sensation, whether you're seated or standing. And if you're standing, you can always hold on to a wall or desk or anything else. And then once you're here, exploring, bringing your hand behind you. And some of the other options. So other options include, if you want to reach for the outside edge of your foot. You know, I have long arms and short legs, so this is a little easier with the way that I'm structured. This is very tricky with people that are structured the opposite way. So we can let go of any expectations about what it's supposed to look like, because we're all a little different. And again, finding something to focus on that isn't moving supports your balancing practice. So maybe that means not looking at the screen where the class is for the moment, and finding something else in the space that you're in, at least at eye level, sometimes even a little higher. Place your focus. Yoga world, that's a drishti. And releasing whenever you're ready, giving a good shake. Oh, shake that all out. Tricky balancing practice today. And then we're gonna make our way down. So make your way down to seated, chair, or mat. All right, so as we make our way downwards, I'm gonna focus a little bit, you know, on our upper body mobility. So seat, chair, or mat. Inhale, bring one arm up. Exhale, bend at your elbow. And then bringing your other hand to rest on your elbow. So this can be just restful, where you're sitting with this. You know, you want to be very mindful of anything like a shoulder injury. No need. Listen to your body. If it's any kind of pain, that's your body saying to back off. So listen to that. If you want to, and it feels okay, you can explore what happens if you bring your elbow over a little bit. Maybe your fingertips reach a little lower. Again, exploring with curiosity. And then, again, with curiosity, see what happens when you bring fingertips around, if you want to explore that, if that feels okay today in your shoulders. Take a couple breaths here in whichever form you have chosen. And whenever you're ready, release very slowly and circle through your shoulders. Circling both ways. And then other side, inhale, reaching upwards. Exhale, bend at your elbow. Maybe you stay here. You don't have to do anything else. Maybe you rest your other hand on your elbow. Again, you don't have to do anything here. It's an option if you want to explore the option to bring your hand in and notice if your fingertips move. And an option to explore bringing your other arm around. Noticing if it's different experience from one side to the other. It might be. Often it is. Breathing in whichever form you have chosen. And then whenever you're ready, release slowly and circle through your shoulders. All right. Your next inhale, bring your arms out wide. Maybe you bring them back a little bit. And then exhale, crossing one arm over the other. So you have elbow over elbow. So a couple options. One option, stay here. Another option, twist together. Taking a couple breaths. You can also rest your hands on your shoulders. Full inhales, slow exhales. On your next inhale, bring your arms out wide again, maybe back. Exhale, cross them the other way. And again, you can kind of press your hands in opposite ways, twist them together, hands rest on shoulders. Take a few breaths. Full inhales and exhales. On your next inhale, bring your arms out wide again. Maybe bring them back. Exhale, round your back, place your hands, rest them on your shins or in your lap, and then couple seated cat-cows. Inhale to arch. Exhale, rounding your back. Continue following your breath. Inhale, arching, looking up. Exhale, rounding, curling in. And then come back to center. We're going to move into our reclined twists. So options, if you're on the mat, you can roll to your back. And rocking back and forth here a little bit. You can allow knees to rest on the other side together, or cross one leg over the other and rest them to the side, mindfully keeping your shoulders on the ground. If you're practicing in a chair, kind of same-sies. You can either keep your knees together as you twist your upper body to the side, or cross one leg over the other as you're twisting your body to the side. So take a few breaths in your reclined twist. Whichever version is part of your practice today. Keeping your breath balanced, full inhales, full exhales. Noticing your heartbeats. Noticing the feeling of support beneath you, support of the ground or the chair. Settling into that support as we are cooling down and winding down our practice. On your next inhale, come back to center, a little bit of rocking, whether you're kind of any kind of side to side or curling up and rocking. Any rocking. And move us into that little rest and digest mode. And then setting up your twist on the other side, whether it's a twist, knees together, one crossed over the other. Samesies, chair or a mat, settling in. And again, breathing. Fully, slowly. Bringing mindful presence to any sensations that you can notice in those moments. Physical sensations like the air moving past your nostrils or in your abdomen. Maybe a twisting or a stretching sensation. Anything else that you can notice right now. Even the temperature of the air in the room where you're practicing. Notice that. Then come back to center, any kind of little rocking. Take a moment to check in with yourself. Do you need any final stretching or movement or anything else? So any final preparation as we shift towards our final practice of mindfulness and rest. So settling in, find yourself comfortable, either lying on your back, on your belly, on your side, or seated comfortably. Today, we will practice my favorite meditation, which is metta or loving kindness. You shift into loving kindness. Bring to mind someone that is easy to care for, easy to love. And as you imagine this individual, could be a child, a loved one, your best friend, could be a pet, silently send them these thoughts. May you be safe. May you be happy and healthy. May you live with ease and peace. May you be a good friend to others and be surrounded by good friends in your life. Inhaling, growing compassion. Exhaling, loving kindness. And now take all those same kind thoughts and offer them inwards to yourself because you deserve them just as much as anyone else. May I be safe. May I be happy and healthy. May I live with ease and peace. May I be a good friend to others. And may I be surrounded by good friends in my life. Inhaling, growing self-compassion. Exhaling, kindness upwards. And now shifting inviting in thoughts about someone that you don't know well. It could be someone, a stranger you've met in passing, a clerk at a store, someone you've just passed by, and offer this stranger or acquaintance these same kind thoughts. May you be safe. May you be happy and healthy. May you live with ease and peace. May you be a good friend to others and be surrounded by good friends in your life. Inhaling, growing compassion. Exhaling, sending out kindness. And now thinking of someone that maybe you've been a little worried about lately. Maybe there's someone in your life that you get the sense needs a little extra compassion or extra kindness, or maybe it's a whole lot of someone's. Thinking of that person or those people and offering these same kind thoughts. May you be safe. May you be happy and healthy. May you live with ease and peace. May you be a good friend to others. And may you be surrounded by good friends. Inhaling, growing compassion, empathy. Exhaling kindness and care outwards. And finally, thinking about our whole planet and everybody on it, and sending these kind thoughts outwards in all directions. May everyone be safe. May everyone be happy and healthy. May everyone live with ease and peace. May we all be good friends to others and be surrounded by good friends in our lives. Inhaling, growing so much compassion. Exhaling, sending kindness outwards in all directions, with the understanding that if we all truly did feel safe and happy and healthy, if we all had good friends and were good friends, then all of us would know greater peace and ease in our lives. Staying here for a few more breaths, focused on your heart, focused on it, inhaling and exhaling compassion. And then we'll start to wake our bodies up gently, maybe making some subtle movements, maybe taking your head from side to side as we shift from our meditation practice and into journaling and reflection time. The journaling part is always optional. You can use this time to quietly reflect or to continue quietly meditating. Today's prompt is about balance. So as you reflect on your own life, where can you bring in more balance? So that's the prompt, is I would like to bring more balance between blank and blank. I will put it in the chat and we'll spend just a few quiet minutes before we open up for sharing time with you. All right, my friends, we will close up journaling and reflection time and then open up for sharing time for anyone who chooses.